Alright, so I've decided today it's the day that I paint my radio. I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I just haven't got around to it because I want to let it cure for 7 days because that's what the paint says. I don't want to take any chances on it, obviously. And I'm to the point now where it's a little marked up and stuff, so painting it I don't think is going to affect the resale value if I decide to go that way. I had previously excuse me, plasti dipped the wheel. Obviously you can see that's not really holding very well. So I'm going to peel that off. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint the wheel or not, I haven't decided. But for the rest of the radio, I'm going to use Krylon Fusion paint. So here's the paint I'm going to use, Krylon Fusion. I'm going to paint it white. And I also got some, where is it? Some clear coat that I'm going to use on it as well. Just standard clear coat. It should be no issue as long as I put the clear coat on within an hour of finishing the last coat of the Krylon. Then it shouldn't react. If you wait anywhere between after a couple of hours and before a couple of days, then sometimes it'll react and it'll like banana peel and or orange peel, and it'll look like crap, and the texture is really weird and stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the radio apart, and the best part about the Futaba radio, at least this one, I don't know about the 4PK or whatever, is that these screens on Spectrum, they're stuck on there with tape, like a double-sided tape. On the Futaba ones, they're not. They just slide in place in some races inside the plastic. So everything comes out nicely. I don't have to try to retape anything. There's no stickers to try to take off to get its screws and then try to put them back on nicely. I will lose the writing here and a little bit of writing up here, but most of the switches, I'll lose this one here. The switches down here on that grip, I realize you can't see them, but the lettering is actually raised. It's in the mold for the plastic, so I'll lose a bit of the lettering. This plastic cover here comes out as well, so I won't lose the power of the display and those labels. I'll lose this label, the DL1 label, a couple of the DT labels, and just the writing along the bottom and the fancy writing up there. Not a big deal. I mean, for anybody that knows the radio, they know those, or I can just look it up in the manual or online or something. So I'm going to take the radio apart now, and I'm not going to show you guys because all radios are different, and I've already done a video taking this radio apart when I had to fix the steering. So that's already been covered. So through the magic of video, I'm going to pull this apart, and there you go. Just the case left. So this is what I'm going to be painting. And then over here is the parts that I've removed from it. A big mess of electronics. This is what's inside it that makes it all work. And the buttons and stuff I put off to the side as well. These are the parts over here that I'm going to be painting. The two halves, the battery door, and the wheel. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these. I'm going to take them upstairs and wash them up. A little bit of dish soap, not much, and some really hot water. Get all the greases and oils and crap off of them. And then I'm going to sand them. I'll give them a light sanding with a really fine grit sandpaper so that the paint will stick to them. And I'll check back in with you guys after I've done that. Okay, so here it is. Washed it, sanded it with 1000 grit paper. 1000 grit because that's what I had. I figured it should be good enough. And then I put it on a wire so that I can hold it up and spray it without having any having my fingers in the way or anything like that. All I did to attach the wire was there wasn't a good spot on this piece, so I just drilled a little tiny hole. You probably can barely see it there. Just drilled a little tiny pinhole in a spot that's not going to be noticeable, and put a wire through it and hung it up. So I'm going to take these outside and give them a spray now. This is what I was talking about on the Krylon. You might not be able to read that, but it says apply a second coat within 24 hours or after 7 days. That's before it's started to cure and or after it's fully cured. So I was wrong on the numbers earlier, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this, and I'm going to, it says dry to the touch within an hour, so I think I'm going to let it sit for a couple hours, and then I might give it a quick wet sand before the clear coat. I'm not sure yet, but I'll see how it goes. Okay, there you go, it's white. It's going to need a little more work. This is just the first coat, and I did it outside, so there's some dust and lint and stuff that landed on it, so it's going to need a little bit of work. So I'm going to let this sit for a couple hours, and then I'm going to give another quick wet sand, and then another light shot of white, and cover it with some clear, and we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so change of plans. I just looked up on Krylon's site, or did some googling, and they suggest not using a clear coat because Krylon's already durable enough, and worst case scenario, you just take the thing apart again. It'll take me 10 minutes to take it apart, if that, and just respray it with another coat of Krylon whenever I want after the 7 to 10 days. So I'm just going to clean it up a little bit here, throw another light coat on it, and throw it back together and see how it looks. Looks pretty good so far. I know there are a few spots that I missed that I've been inspecting it, and so it's going to need a little bit more, but should turn out pretty good. So I decided to paint the buttons as well. I pulled the buttons all out of there, painted them black. So this is going to be my Futaba 4PL White Edition. There she is, all done. Black and white. Turned out alright. There are a few issue spots, but nothing you'll really notice from any sort of distance. You'd only notice them really up close. The only thing I wish I would have done that I didn't really pay attention to is I wish I would have done these buttons white so that they contrasted the black outer area. But that's how it is. First try, you never do it all perfect. So yeah, turned out pretty good for my expectations anyway. I'll post a few shots there too, just of the finished product. Hope you enjoyed the video.